Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis Media once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. This time it is going to be on Superman. This is James Gunn's first installment in his brand new DC universe. As apparently Zack Snyder is no longer going to be a part of it, James Gunn has decided to reboot the entire thing and make his own version of the DC universe. And starting off, of course, it had to start off with Superman. I mean, come on, it's Superman. But Superman in this movie must reconcile his alien Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as Clark Kent. As the embodiment of truth, justice, and the human way, he soon finds himself in a world that views these as old-fashioned. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat, I wasn't really looking forward to this one. And I know what you're thinking. No, it's not the movie itself, because the movie I was looking forward to. No, what I wasn't looking forward was talking about it, because there has been so much controversy surrounding this movie that it is insane, because there has been this massive war going on between this movie, probably more controversial than Snow White. I mean, that movie ended up being bad, so most people agreed that it was bad. But with this movie, there are two sides. There are the Snyder fans and the overall Superman fans that like anything Superman. When it came to the Zack Snyder fans, the fact that James Gunn was making his own version, people were so mad that there was even a campaign to get this movie review bombed, like that was really going to do anything. I guess it's so they can hurt the movie's box office numbers, because they have been trying to do that. Like, we need to get Zack Snyder back. If people don't see this movie, Zack Snyder could be back, as they just don't want to let it go. And now, when it comes to the Zack Snyder universe, I don't love it. In terms of the movies that Zack Snyder has overall directed, Man of Steel I like. I don't love it, but then again, I haven't seen that movie since it came out in the theaters back in 2013, and I was 12? I was 12 when that movie came out. And we're going to be 25 in September, and we're already at another Superman. Yeah, but I like Man of Steel. I don't like Batman vs. Superman. I still don't think it's this misunderstood masterpiece that most people are making it out to be. I'm sorry, there were just things about that movie that just completely ruined it for me, and I still think it's a major disappointment. Justice League, the original version, I think is fine. The Snyder Cut was definitely better, but I think his universe is fine. I don't hate it. There are things about it that I do like, but I've just never been super crazy about it. Now, that's not to say I don't think Zack Snyder is a bad director. There is a good amount of his movies I do enjoy. Watchmen, 300, Dawn of the Dead remake, which is my personal favorite movie of his, but I've just never been too crazy about it. So the fact that these Snyder fans are just going to attack anyone who likes the movie, and even make the most ridiculous excuse that anyone who likes the movie, any critic that gives it a positive review, has been paid to give it a positive review, which I think is the absolute most ridiculous excuse, because clearly it isn't true. Now, let's ignore that for a minute and talk about the side that is thinking that this movie is going to be absolutely amazing, and the people who are going to trash on this movie are completely wrong. So it doesn't matter if you like the movie or hate the movie, people are still going to attack you either way, even if you think the movie is just fine. Now, let's just ignore that, and let me just give you guys my thoughts on the movie. I don't care if people think I'm wrong, if people think I'm an idiot, because it's not going to matter. Because, guys, guess what? Alright, come over here. This is a movie. Not a politician, not like a really controversial celebrity. It's a movie. And I just want to have fun talking about it with you guys, okay? Okay. Now, what did I think? I liked it. No one's paying me to say that. I thought it was good. I didn't love the movie, but I enjoyed most of my time more than I didn't. Because when it comes to James Gunn, I enjoy like almost every single movie that he's made. From Slither to Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy to The Suicide Squad. I trust him when it comes to being a part of a new franchise. And with this movie, I think it is a very strong start. What I really like is the fact that while this technically is an origin story, it's not the same origin story that we know from Superman over and over and over again. This isn't about him as a baby, his planet being destroyed and being sent down to Earth and then meeting Lois Lane. No, because all that already happened. No, this starts off far more differently, as it focuses a lot more on Superman rather than how he became Superman, but focusing on, him as a character rather than Clark Kent. And while Clark Kent is in the movie, obviously, his personality is there, the moments he has in the movie in terms of screen time isn't really there. It focuses a lot more on Superman, which I think people will be far more pleased with because, again, it's a Superman movie and most people came for Superman rather than Clark Kent. And I'm just going to say right off the bat, David Corenswet, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, he's really good in the movie. People have criticized, his face and all that, but the fact that he confirmed he wasn't digitized, it really didn't bother me. When it came to the scenes flying and all that, there are times where, when it comes to, the close-ups, not with his face. I mean, sometimes when it comes around, it's a little bit distracting because some of it is a little too zoomed in. But other than that, he plays a really good Superman. He looks Superman, the way his style is. I mean, I thought he was really good in the movie. And it's not just him in the movie that's good. There's also some really good casting choices that I think are really solid as well. From Rachel Brosnahan. You know how I get when it comes to last names. But, yeah, she was also really good. Now, despite the fact that Lois Lane and Superman don't really have a whole lot of screen time together, that doesn't mean that they just added Lois Lane in because, she's a Lois Lane. There's definitely elements to that definitely build up when it comes to their chemistry together. And Lois Lane does play a big part in the movie that shows that she's not just, a stowaway character. I like how they portray her as someone who's actually willing to help rather than just being the love interest, because the relationship is kind of complicated in this movie. And I'm not going to get into any spoilers whatsoever, so don't worry about that. Now, of course, I should also talk about Nicholas Hoult, who plays Lex Luthor. He was really good in the movie as well. I really like the fact that, they actually made a casting choice that was actually more fitting. Because when Zack Snyder did it, I still have a million questions. Why? Why Jesse Eisenberg? That was one of the biggest things that I just couldn't get over. Why? I like the guy, but he's not what I think of when I think Lex Luthor. That's one thing that James Gunn did with this version of Lex Luthor better than Zack Snyder's universe, in my opinion. Now, that's not to say that his motive is always phenomenal. The way they build up his character at first, it's very strong, showing his menacing, schemish style when it comes to wanting to take down Superman, wanting him dead. There are times later on after that where, I'm not going to get too further in, but they just aren't as powerful as when they start building him up and just kind of make him out to be That's not to say that he's bad throughout the rest of the movie, no. In terms of his performance, Nicholas Hoult really did it well. Now let's talk about the Justice Gang too, because while some of the characters aren't really as strong as I was hoping for in terms of the screen time they have, Mr. Terrific is truly what stands out the most in terms of the Justice Gang. He has probably the most elements of humor in the movie, and of course I'm going to talk about the humor because it's a James Gunn movie, but he adds in a lot more than some of the other members of the Justice Gang. But I don't know, maybe in the future when James Gunn does reveal he will be making more movies, then maybe they'll do more with the Justice Gang. But I'm not really going to get my hopes up too high because when it comes to comic book movies, I don't anticipate them as much. I just say that I'll go see them and hope that I like them because, well, I don't really need to repeat myself because I pretty much say it every single time I review a new comic book movie. But yeah, and Krypto, the dog, yeah, he was perfect. I feel like even if you don't like the movie, you cannot deny how fun Krypto was. He has that dog personality in him that makes us love him. And yes, even though they did use CGI throughout his entire form, he's still really entertaining. You want Krypto to be safe. It was always nice seeing him on screen. His personality, Krypto, he is easily one of the movie's biggest strengths, even though he isn't on screen that much. But of course, the movie focuses more on Superman as a person. And people have said that they don't like the change of him being an immigrant, making it super... I'm not even going to say that word. You know what word I'm talking about. But nonetheless, when it comes to Superman as a character, he still has that same motive of wanting to protect. and something changes in the story. I'm not sure if it's really a spoiler, but I'm not going to bring it up anyway. That definitely made me feel something when it comes to later on in the film. Because I feel like when it came to those first 30 minutes, they are a little weak. But I get it. It's supposed to, bring in what to expect. Because most of the action, there's a lot of action in this movie. And I feel like most of it pays off, even though some of the green screen is noticeable. But there are times where the CGI actually doesn't look too bad. So, yeah, there's a lot about this movie that I actually really enjoyed. Now, that's not to say it's a little perfect, because like I said, I liked it, but I didn't love it. Let's get into the humor, okay? Because as much as I love the humor from the Guardians movies, most of it anyway, I feel like some of it doesn't nearly as land, especially when it comes to some of the emotional bits that happen, because there are some scenes that happen that I feel like they just add in comedy just to add it in, because sometimes it always felt a little bit forced, because even when it comes to modern superhero films, there always has to be those bits of comedy, and you can add it in, but I feel like it would have been best not to have it during the moments that are specifically supposed to be more serious, because that happens quite a bit throughout the film, and it didn't really ruin anything, like anything major for me. It just would have made me, connect a little bit more had it not been trying to be forced in, and just have it be there when it needs to be there, because that's usually what I prefer when it comes to balancing emotion and humor at the same time. And there have been movies to have managed to do that really well. Because most of the jokes, there wasn't really a time where I was just bursting out laughing, but I don't really feel like that's also the intention, because it's far more serious rather than it is goofy and all that. And not to say that Superman can't be goofy, because there are elements to the first two original Superman movies that definitely had bits of humor in them. And of course, nobody could take the ending seriously to the first movie, but even though it was supposed to be a serious moment. But hey, that's not to say it can't have fun with its humor. I would have preferred it had it been at the right time. I would say which scenes I am talking about, but again, I don't want this to be a spoiler review. But still, other than that, there wasn't really a time where I was just blown away during specific sequences that really surprised me in the way that I was hoping for. But nonetheless, because this is a new start for James Gunn's new universe, I'm curious to see what will happen. Because again, it could get better, which I'm hoping for. It could get worse, which I don't hope for. But hey, for his version of Superman, it's not bad. Not in the way that I would hope, but hey, I'm just glad it was good overall in my eyes. In the end, I thought Superman was a pretty solid time. I didn't love the movie, and people are probably going to hate me for that. I didn't hate the movie, and people are also probably going to hate me for that. You just can't please anyone. So, you know what? You might as well just talk about the movie, because people are probably going to be mad at you regardless of what your opinion is, which, again, I think is absolutely silly. Yeah, I'm not really too huge into the Superman lore. I really never watched anything involving, the animated Superman other than, that one DC League of Super Pets movie. I almost forgot that was even a thing. But I was never, really big into, the comics or all that. So I feel like if you're a true Superman, a major, humongous Superman fan where you don't care about anything that Superman is in, you're still going to like it regardless. Unless maybe it's this. I gotta boil my hand later. But still, regardless, it's going to be divisive, despite the fact that most people have really been enjoying it, and I'm happy for them. Even if I was a major Zack Snyder fan, a major Zack Snyder DCU fan, I wouldn't care what people thought about the movie. I would still watch it regardless. I mean, obviously I would, because I do this for my channel mostly, but hey, nonetheless, whether you love it, whether you hate it, don't let anyone stop you from enjoying what you want to enjoy, or not liking what you don't want to like. It's really going to depend. But as for someone who did watch the movie, I thought it was overall pretty super. So yeah, I liked it. But still, yeah, I just cannot believe the controversy surrounding the film, this movie. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, but hey, it's gonna make a movie regardless of what you think. I'm not gonna be surprised if it ended up breaking a record or something, but because hey, it got people's attention, so yeah. But apparently there were talks about some people protesting on this movie. Like, you know what? I'm just going to stop there. Because I almost didn't even want to talk about it, but I feel like I should have anyway. But yeah, either way, I do recommend it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and maybe subscribe for more. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or maybe Blue Sky. Links are in the description. And I'll see you guys later. Word out.